First and foremost, we want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. And I just want to send a big shalom and peace to all the brothers out there pushing this truth across the four corners of the earth. Keep doing what you're doing. The Most High sees you. Blessings to you. And today we're going to do a lesson on Jacob's trouble, right? Because a lot of people, you know, including myself, a lot of brothers and sisters in this truth, we come in this truth and it's a lot of joy, and it's a beautiful thing when you hear the good news, when you hear the gospel, that it pertains to you and that you're an Israelite. So on the flip side of that, you know, there's a lot of things that we have to go through when we you know, have to gird up our loins and put everything up and follow this truth the way we're supposed to. You know, demons are going to attack you. There's going to be times of persecution. There's going to be Jacob's trouble. So it's things you're going to have to go through. So we're going to go through the scriptures and show you, you know, what Jacob's trouble is and how you can get delivered out of it. All right. So first we're going to start with Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, and a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. So Jeremiah is wondering, you know, why he's seeing this. Why are these people going through what they're going through? Right? So we're going to read on. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right? So this is going into Jacob's trouble. So what he's seeing is pain and anguish in a time of trouble, right? For Israel, because Jacob, his name was changed to Israel, the forefather of the Israelites. So that only pertains to us, right? So we're going to see how we can get delivered out of Jacob's trouble. But we're going to go to another verse, Daniel in chapter 12. Let me get there. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Right? So it's let you know there's going to be Jacob's trouble, but if you stick through it, if you endure, you'll be delivered out of it. So you just have to endure to the end, right? And let's go back to the beginning of that verse, because it says, and at that time Michael shall stand up. And Michael is the archangel who stands up for the children of Israel. He doesn't stand up for everybody in the world. So that's how you know it's Jacob's trouble, it's Israel's trouble. Everybody else, whatever they have coming, that's what they have to deal with. But we're Jacob, we're Israel, so that's for us.
And real quick, if you don't mind, you know how you say endure to the end? Can I get a quick precept?
Yes, sir.
Colossians 1 and 21.
Colossians
1 and 21, read 23.
Colossians 1, 21.
About enduring. You've been enduring to the end.
Book of Colossians, chapter 1, verse 21. And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you holy and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight.
If what?
If you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister.
Right, so when it says endure to the end, like, you just don't be moved. Like I always say, that's all. I guess that's my main thing.
Right.
Don't be moved away from the hope of the gospel, meaning like, we know gospel means good news, and you got to hope into the end that you'll be saved, and Lord willing you will. Right.
Just like I said at the beginning, when you came into the truth and you had that beautiful truth, you know, you heard it in your ears and you were joyful and you were happy. You gotta hold on to that until the end. So that's what that's going into. All right, so let's see how we can get delivered from it. We're going to go to the book of Acts and chapter 4. Book of Acts chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 10. Be it known unto you all and to all the people of Israel that by the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, whom ye crucified, whom God raised from the dead, even by him doth this man stand before you whole. This is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which is become the head of the corner. And here it is. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. So when that time of trouble comes, just like the brother was going into, you got to have faith. You got to have hope. What are we having faith in? Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. So if you lose that hope in the Messiah, if you lose that faith, you're not going to be saved. So only in that name is salvation, and salvation is only for us. All right. So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 50, and verse 15. I'm going to get some more on that. Book of Psalms, chapter 50, and verse 15. It reads, "And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me." So we have to call on the name of the Lord when that trouble comes with faith and hope that we're going to be delivered. And that's how we're going to get saved out of Jacob's trouble. Because it's not going to be a good time. You know, it's going to be a lot of pain. It's going to be a dark day. And it's going to be terrible, like the terrible day of the Lord. So keep your faith, keep your hope in Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, you know, we'll be saved out of it. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 33. It's, Jeremiah 33. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 33. We're going to start at verse 2. "Thus saith the Lord, the maker thereof, the Lord that formed it, to establish it. The Lord is his name. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." So there you go again. You're calling on the name of the Lord. And then, like I said, in that day of trouble, in the day of affliction and persecution, and all hell is breaking loose, and you call on the name of the Lord, and he'll show you something that you knew not. He'll show you salvation that you never even thought was possible, in a way that you never thought was possible. So we got to keep that faith and that hope in him. Let's go to Psalms 20 and 1. Book of Psalms, chapter 20 and verse 1. "The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary and strengthen thee out of Zion." So there you have it again, right? In the day of trouble, the Lord is going to be the one to defend you. Only in the Lord you're going to be saved, right? So let's go to Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. Book of Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5. And all of this is repetitive. You know, it's redundant. It's going into the same things over and over. Faith, faith, faith. Because we can come into this truth, and you know, a lot of brothers were stuck on the laws, but you're keeping those laws, statutes, and commandments with the faith that you're going to be delivered, right? So let's get to it. That's Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." So in everything that we do, we acknowledge the Lord, right? And we're calling on him for everything that we need, even our salvation, even in Jacob's trouble. So when these times come, we just have to stay strong in the faith, no matter what comes up against you, no matter what is going on. If you're being persecuted by family and friends, if you're being delivered up to the law, Esau got you bound up, torturing you, whatever may be going on, you still have to keep that faith, and the Lord is going to deliver you in that time. Right? So let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 51. We're going to start at 51 and 2. For thou art my defender and helper, and hast preserved my body from destruction, and from the snare of the slanderous tongue, and from the lips that forge lies, and hast been mine helper against mine adversaries, and hast delivered me according to the multitude of thy mercies and greatness of thy name, from the teeth of them that were ready to devour me, and out of the hands of such as sought after my life, and from the manifold afflictions which I had, from the choking of fire on every side, and from the midst of the fire which I kindle not, from the depth of the belly of hell, from an unclean tongue, and from lying words, by an accusation to the king, from an unrighteous tongue, my soul drew near even unto death. My life was near to the hell beneath. They compassed me on every side, and there was no man to help me. I looked for the succour of men, but there was none. Then thought I upon thy mercy, O Lord, and upon thy acts of old, how thou deliverest such as wait for thee, and savest them out of the hands of the enemies. Then I lifted up my supplication from the earth and prayed for deliverance from death. Right? So if you remember, that's what all these stories are in the Bible. All the prophets that were persecuted, all the things that they had to go through when they had faith. Abraham and Moses and Daniel when he was delivered in the time of trouble. Right? So we have to remember these acts of old that the Lord delivered us, and those things are for our learning and for us to get that same faith and that same hope in the Lord to be delivered in our days of trouble. Right? So we're going to go to Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4. And we're going to read down to 13. Whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. So when these things come upon you, you have to take these things on cheerfully and know that the Lord is trying you, that you're being tested, your faith is being tested. So we have to take on these things cheerfully, right? And when we're changed to a lower state, you know, be happy that those afflictions, I know they hurt, they might not be nice at the time, whether your family is coming against you, it might bring you down, but you have to remember that the Lord is trying you, and this is not an easy road. So just keep the faith and keep going. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversary. So an acceptable man is someone that proves themselves to the Most High that they're worthy of salvation. Right? Believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Because that's what's coming. Everlasting joy and mercy. No more pain, no more tears. Only rulership. You know, having dominion over the other nations. Right? Being able to have a glorified body in the kingdom of heaven. Right? All these things is going to be everlasting for us if we keep the faith and stick to it towards the end. Again, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded?
No.
Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? No. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in the time of affliction. Right? Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. So that means destruction to you if you don't have faith, right? You're shaky in your faith. You know, when things come, you're like, oh, what should I do? Should I call on the Lord? Or Esau is he's doing these things to the brothers. I saw him get persecuted. I don't know if I want that. Should I go with him or should I just continue in the faith? Right? You can't be that way. That he says, woe to you. That's destruction to you. Right? Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. So in that time, if you don't keep 100% faith, you're not going to be defended. You're going to be destroyed. All right? So we're going to go to Luke chapter 21 and verse 12. It's the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 12. And we're going to read down to 19. Luke 21 and 12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you. We were just going into that, right? And persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and to prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. So they're going to bring you up. They're going to lock you up. They're going to throw you in prison. They might put you in a FEMA camp, right? And it reads, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So in those times, don't think about or meditate, oh, well, what should I say? What should I say to him? What should I do? Just believe in the Lord, have faith in him, and he's going to give you everything you need in that time. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren, and kinsfolks, and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Real quick. Also, too, if you brothers out there that's teaching on the street, when they say they should deliver you up, also, too, like, that means no written letters. No written letters. And no, witness statements. Just go up there. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need nothing. You got the spirit of the Most High, or Yahweh Shai, which is the ultimate lawyer.
Right.
So if Yahweh Shai is pleading to the God of all things, and the spirit of him is dwelling in you, you got a lawyer. You don't need to buy one. The gift that the Most High gave you was enough. Okay?
Right. So that's when you read these words. Yeah, we're going into Jacob's trouble. But you have to apply that in everyday life, whatever situations you're going through, even if it's not the very end, just like the brother said, situations might arise. You might have to go to court. You might have to, get before the judge, so you just have to, trust in the Most High in those things too, and allow him to lead your path and direct your steps. And read it on. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. So patience, faith, hope, it's all the same, right? You have to have those things in order to be delivered out of this trouble. All right, so let's go to Matthew 24 and 21. We're going to get more on that. Matthew 24 and 21. We're going to read that one down to 27. Book of Matthew chapter 24 verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So this tribulation that's coming is going to be the worst tribulation ever recorded on the face of the earth. And after that, it will never be that bad again. So we have to take heed to these words. We have to trust in the Lord. Read it on. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Right? So it says that they're going to show many signs and many wonders, right? So you got these pastors out here showing signs of miracles and healing, and one leg is getting long and one leg is longer than the other one, and they bringing it back, or throwing jackets and hitting people with jackets and they falling out and start shaking and all that, right? Yeah. And it says if it were possible, right? If it were possible that they may deceive the very elect, but it's not possible to deceive the elect because they are the elect and they're going to be saved. So we got to watch out, man. A lot of our people are into Christianity and they're into these televangelists, And these people are filthy rich, right? And they're believing them and they follow them and they love their shows and their books and they buy everything. But you got to watch out, man. They'll lead you to destruction. Yeah. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. Right? So it's going to come a time where they say, hey, man, it might be Israel. Like, yo, Yahweh Shah over here, man. It was just on the news. Let's go, man. We got to go. It's time. Don't believe it. Right? Because you're going to see the Messiah when he comes back. You're going to know when it's him. Right? And it reads, if you go on, it says, for as the lightning coming out of the east and shining even to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So that's how he's going to come, from the east to the west. Right? So we can't believe all these things that's going to come. They're going to try to deceive us the best way that they can, because it's all about us. It's all about Israel, man. Everything that goes on in this world is systematically to keep us down and not know who we are. All right, so let's go to Isaiah 33 and 6. Book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. Let me get there. Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Right? So the fear of the Lord is the treasure, man. When you fear the Lord enough to come up out of this world and do the things that he says do and not follow all these commandments and doctrines of men, and you fear the Lord, that's when you'll be saved, man. That's when you'll get that deliverance. Right? So let's go to Isaiah 26 and 3. Isaiah 26 and verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. Trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. Right? So it says, trust in the Lord forever. Right? It says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. So keep our mind on these law, statutes, and commandments and the faith. Right? And that's when you'll be covered. You'll be remembered by the Lord, and he'll make sure that you're good to go.
Precept, 2nd Esdras 6 and 5.
Book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 5. 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 5. And it reads, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned.
Right, this is the next point that I want.
Before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure.
Right, so he's saying before that, but the point is that's going to happen.
Right.
Like that gathered, before they were sealed, they have gathered faith for a treasure. And that goes into what you read in Isaiah 33 and 6.
Right.
It says the fear of the Lord is his treasure.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Con. All right. That was it on that. Yeah, that's it on that. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 16 and 17. Book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 17, and we're going to read that all the way down to 35. Woe is me, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So Esdras he's saying woe is me. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Because he's thinking, he's gonna have to deal with this. So it's gonna go into how bad it is. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Right? So you got all these rich people, right? They buying all these $1 million bunkers underground to try to escape nuclear destruction. Or they got these in-the-day shelters with food stocked all over the place. So those who are tucked away in those bunkers, right? It says those who escape the hunger, they got all their food stacked up, the sword is going to kill them. So there's no way they can get out of it. The wicked will perish. Thus saith the Lord. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. Right? So it's saying it's going to be empty everywhere. Right? Everywhere you go, you're probably going to be yearning to see somebody, or say hey to somebody, or try to find some food with somebody. Right? Then it says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. Right? Like nowadays people, we say, or some people, they might say, yeah, I don't really want to deal with nobody today, man. I want to chill by myself. But we don't understand how precious it is to have company, especially in this truth, because it's already a lonely walk. But in those days, man, the people who aren't righteous, they're gonna hope to see somebody in those days, and they're not going to be able to. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old. And her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. So this is heavy, man. This is famine. It's talking about no food. It's talking about destruction. It's talking about people being killed with the sword, or the modern day sword is the gun, right? So it's going to be bad in those days, man. So like it says, ye servants of the Lord, Israelites, the nation of Israel, Yasharahla, we got to have the faith. We got to keep this thing. We got to stick it out. We got to stay in this truth. We can't fall out for no reason, whether it be family, whether it be friends that don't want to come in the truth, or they think you're in a cult, or they think you're deceived. Stay strong in the faith and keep it to the end. All right, let's go to 2nd Esdras 15 and 14, and we're going to read to 19. 15 and 14. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So that's going into race wars, right? Another people coming up against another, or nation against nation. It's going to be very divided. Everybody always says, we need to come together. Blacks and whites need to cut it out and become one. We're all people. We all bleed red. But this is saying different. This is the word of the Lord saying that we're going to come against each other, right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Real quick, this is just the definition of sedition. It means conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch.
Right, and that's happening right now. All these different nations across the world are coming up against their rulers, right? They're fighting for democracy. They're doing all these protests, and it's almost martial law going on in Hong Kong, right? People are getting shot, people are getting killed, all kind of things. Stuff is on fire. it's getting out of hand now, right? And it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right? So you might think you live in a nice neighborhood, right? You live next to Tommy on the left and Bobby on the right hand side, and you come over, your kids playing with their kids, but in that day, Bobby or Tommy might come to your house with a gun saying, look, man, give me the food or I'm going to have to kill you. And I'm going to have to take your food because we got to eat. My kids got to eat. Right? It says, behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. So this is going to be done by the Lord, man. All right? So one more verse. We're going to go to Mark chapter 5. Book of Mark chapter 5 and verse 36. And it reads, as soon as Yahushua heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. So in this time of trouble, be not afraid. Don't be scared. Don't think that something bad is going to happen to you, because that's not of faith. That's of fear, right? So he says, be not afraid, only believe. Only have faith. Only have hope that you're going to make it to the kingdom, right? Because that's what we all want. That's what we're all doing this day in and day out, right? And with that, I want to say shalom. Peace to all the 12 tribes out there in the world. That's it.
Shalom.